Good morning, televiewers of Mamida Prime Television. You're on to your favorite bilingual program, The Brief, which is dedicated to the review of striking headlines in the papers. Today marks exactly 3 years since the major national dialogue was organized in Cameroon. We shall be looking at the fallout of the said meeting or gathering, which took place in Yaoundé from September 30th through October 4, 2019 in Yaoundé. And of course, the newspapers this morning, some of the newspapers are focusing on that major meeting which was convened by President Paul Biya, and the resolutions or recommendations are being systematically implemented as per what some of those newspapers are telling us this morning. We shall equally talk about the support of the World Health Organization to the government of the Republic of Cameroon in combating COVID-19. We are told that some consignments of medical kits were handed over to the Ministry of Defense or the Ministry of Public Health of the country recently in a ceremony that was presided over by the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manawuda Malashi. Gwladys Bomotonguina is here. Let's have the headlines in the French language newspapers. Bonjour Gwladys.
Bonjour Lasha. Bonjour à vous et merci de nous retrouver pour cette dernière édition de la semaine de Brief, votre émission bilingue de revue de presse sur My Media Prime Télévision. Alors la majorité de la presse francophone est meublée ici par les hommages adressés à Amadou Ali, mais aussi par le conflit qui oppose le coq sportif et la FECAFOOT. Alors ce matin, nous allons débuter avec le journal Le Quotidien Réalité Plus. Le journal Le Quotidien Réalité Plus nous parle ici en grand titre et nous amène à Kolfata pour nous parler ici de Kavaye Yege Dibril qui essuie donc les larmes de la famille du feu Amadou Ali. Un jour après l'inhumation du vice-PM Amadou Ali, le président de l'Assemblée nationale Kavaye Yege Dibril est donc allé rencontrer la famille éprouvée de son compagnon politique dans l'extrême nord Cameroun. Les détails sont en page 7 du quotidien Réalité Plus ce matin. À sa page 4 jusqu'à 5, le journal nous parle de Mbéré Adamawa. Le sénateur Souadatou Diallo épouse Kaba, qui sensibilise donc et remobilise sa base. Les détails sont donc effectivement en page 4 et 5 du quotidien Réalité Plus ce matin. Nous continuons avec l'info à chaud. L'info à chaud nous parle à sa page 3 de la 3e session ordinaire du Conseil électoral et les CAM. Le budget 2023 a été adopté. En grand titre, le journal nous parle du coq sportif. Vous parlez ici de la réponse du coq sportif face à la FECAFOOT. Le coq sportif souhaite donc apporter des clarifications sur la situation actuelle avec la FECAFOOT. La FECAFOOT maintient sa position de rupture de contrat qu'il allie au coq sportif. Devant cette position, le coq sportif maintient qu'il s'agit d'une rupture abusive de contrat. Aucune conciliation n'a été possible avec la FECAFOOT pour le moment, malgré la volonté du coq sportif de trouver une issue positive. La procédure juridique suit donc son cours et le coq sportif attend sereinement les décisions qui seront prises et s'y soumettra. C'est du moins ce que nous révèle ce matin le journal et l'info à chaud à sa page 11. En page 4, le journal nous parle de la 41e assemblée de l'OACI. Le président du conseil reçoit la délégation du Cameroun. Entrée est de la ville de Douala, la fin des pluies conditionne donc la reprise des travaux dans cette partie du pays. Les détails sont en page 8 de l'info à chaud ce matin. Nous continuons, mesdames, messieurs, avec le quotidien Econews qui nous parle ici de l'autoroute Yaoundé-Douala pour parler de vandalisme sur cette autoroute pendant 4 jours. En effet, le ministre des Travaux publics Emmanuel Nganou Djoumessi a passé en revue donc les problèmes à l'origine des retards d'exécution des travaux d'infrastructure. Le cas de la phase 1 de l'autoroute Yaoundé-Douala n'est pas passé inaperçu. L'entreprise en charge de l'exécution des travaux se plaint de l'incivisme des riverains dont les actions freinent la mise en service de l'infrastructure. C'est du moins ce que nous révèle ce matin le quotidien Eco News à sa page 5. Toujours dans le même journal, en page 7, le journal nous parle d'agriculture vivrière. La hausse des prix des engrais provoque donc la baisse des activités. Nous continuons avec l'émergence quotidien. Ce matin, mesdames, messieurs, le journal nous révèle ce qu'a donc révélé l'un des témoins sur les comptes bancaires de Mbungo. C'est dans cette édition d'émergence quotidien à sa page 5. En page 3, le journal nous parle de lutte contre les effets du Covid-19, 21 millions de dollars pour booster les PME et les startups au Cameroun. En page 4, le journal Émergence quotidien nous parle des produits de première nécessité. Le Cameroun veut donc réduire sa dépendance aux importations. Mesdames, Messieurs, voilà pour vos titres ce matin en langue française. Place à la découverte de ces titres en langue anglaise avec toi, Lasha.
Thank you, Gwladys. Bomotonguina. Let's kickstart with the Guardian Post newspaper, which is focusing on the move taken by local administrative authorities in the northwest and southwest regions of the country as October 1 approaches. And the paper this morning is focusing on what it terms facts, figures that reinforce a separatist belief in October 1. The paper goes further to tell us that it is a tradition that every October 1, government and the separatists flex muscles over what the date represents to Anglophones, while the latter considers October 1 as the day Southern Cameroon gained its independence and which they must commemorate. Government, on the other hand, sees such celebration as being illegal. The Yaoundé does by brandishing the reunification of 1961, which saw the people of the former Southern Cameroons voting overwhelmingly to join the République du Cameroun. It was that reunion that changed the name of La République du Cameroun to Federal Republic of Cameroon and later United Republic of Cameroon. More details on pages 6 and 7 of this edition of the Guardian Post newspaper. And the Guardian Post is also focusing once again on October 1, this editorial piece by the paper telling us the Bia's regime can't change history. And this time around, the paper tells us that the Bia's regime catches cold each year with the approach of October 1, even before the vicious blood spilling erupted in the northwest and southwest regions of the country. Troops were traditionally mobilized in the two English-speaking regions to prevent celebration of October 1 by separatists, as the paper tells us. So it is not history, or it is not new, as per what the paper is saying, that the government is always doing what it can to make sure that the separatist fighters do not celebrate October 1, as has always been the case in those English-speaking regions of the country. On to municipal updates. Municipal updates newspaper is focusing on the major national dialogue 3 years after this time around. The paper is urging the population of the northwest and southwest regions to appreciate the major national dialogue outcomes. You can read more in this edition of the municipal updates newspaper, talking about the major gathering that took place in Yaoundé on September 30th through October 4, 2019. The municipal update newspaper is focusing on that meeting this morning and giving reasons why the population of the northwest and southwest regions should appreciate the major national dialogue outcomes. We end this morning with Eco Santé newspaper. Eco Santé newspaper is interested in the move taken by the World Health Organization in supporting Cameroon in combating COVID-19. We are told that over 17,456 kits, medical kits, have been handed over to Cameroon, and this was done in a ceremony recently in Yaoundé that was chaired by Public Health Minister Dr. Manawuda Malashi, and these kits were handed to the government to fight against the COVID-19 as Eco Sante newspaper is telling us this morning. And the paper is also telling us that 35% of Cameroonians are suffering from cardiovascular diseases. This revelation was made recently during the World Day to commemorate heart in the world. And 35% of Cameroonians, as per what the paper is telling us, are suffering from cardiovascular diseases. You can read more in this edition of Eco Sante newspaper that you can grab on your newspaper stands this morning across the national territory. We are back to continue with our discussions this morning. And Maitre Alex Ndive is joining us on today's edition of the program. Maitre Alex, good morning and welcome. Apparently, we're having issue getting Maitre Alex. It's been 3 years since the major national dialogue held in Yaoundé, and some newspapers are focusing on that this morning, talking about the major national dialogue, which was convened by President Paul Biya to resolve the crisis in the two English-speaking regions of the country. Some resolutions were arrived at, which are being implemented as per what we are getting from the newspaper this morning. And some newspapers are urging the population of the northwest and southwest regions to, appreciate and, congratulate government for the fallouts of the major national dialogue. Gwladys, so many concessions have been made so far on the part of government in ensuring that peace return to the two English-speaking regions of the country, while hoping that Maitre Alex Ndive joined us this morning. What is your own appraisal of that meeting which held in Yaoundé? Are you happy with the outcome or what has been implemented so far after the meeting 3 years ago, Gwladys?
Ok, en réalité, le grand dialogue national avait été implémenté pour que la crise dans le nord-ouest et le sud-ouest cesse. 3 ans aujourd'hui, la question à se poser, est-ce que cette crise a cessé? Et la réponse à cette question est non. Si la réponse à la question est non, ça veut dire que l'objectif majeur de la mise ou bien de l'organisation de ce grand dialogue national était inutile, ça a échoué. Donc, on va dire en conclusion qu'après 3 ans d'observation, l'objectif principal du grand dialogue national qui était de stopper cette crise armée dans le nord-ouest et le sud-ouest a échoué. Donc, au jour d'aujourd'hui, Lasha, on va se poser la question de savoir, mais pourquoi est-ce que nous sommes arrivés 3 ans après, sans résultat, sans preuve d'avoir fait quelque chose pour que cette crise cesse? La réponse c'est pourquoi est-ce que on va se retrouver avec des personnes qui n'ont pas de revendications, c'est-à-dire les personnes qui sont à la tête des mesures qui ont été prises ne font pas partie des personnes qui sont en train de revendiquer. Alors à ce moment-ci, si tu n'es pas dans la chaussure de quelqu'un, tu ne peux pas résoudre son problème, c'est une vérité. Donc, on ne peut pas prendre les mauvaises personnes pour résoudre un problème actuel. Il faut prendre des personnes qui vivent la situation pour arriver à résoudre le problème. Mais on a vu les personnes qui étaient en tête de ces comités, soi-disant, qui ont été prises, sont des personnes qui n'ont pas véritablement, qui ne vivent pas réellement la situation qui se passe dans le nord-ouest et le sud.
The meeting to them.
Mr. Lasha,
and I quite remember, because I was there, the Prime Minister, he spoke that from the opening speech of the Prime Minister, he called on everybody to do their best in ensuring, and he even asked them that, what shall we tell our children, that we had the unique opportunity to solve this problem, but we could not do it, that everyone should examine their conscience,
Mr.
and know that whatever thing they are doing here, they are doing it for their future generation, not for themselves.
Mr. Lasha, lorsqu'il y a un problème et que les personnes qui sont chargées de résoudre le problème ne sont pas les personnes qui vivent en réalité ce problème. On ne peut pas avoir de solution. Mr. Lasha, l'invitation ne veut pas dire que c'est toi qui es en charge de résoudre le problème. C'est deux choses différentes. Être invité à participer à quelque chose est différent d'avoir reçu la responsabilité de travailler afin de résoudre le problème. C'est deux choses différentes. On se retrouve avec des personnes qui ont reçu la charge alors qu'elles ne vivent pas la situation. Elles s'en foutent même de la situation en réalité. Et ce sont elles qui doivent apporter la solution. À la fin, on va se retrouver avec 3 ans de résolution inachevée, ineffective. Et on ne peut s'en prendre que aux personnes qui ont pris sur elles la décision de mettre, ou bien la décision de mettre les mauvaises personnes à la gestion des problèmes qui sont vraiment sensibles pour notre société.
I have indication that Maitre Alex is back. Maitre Alex, can you hear me now?
Good morning, Mr. Lasha. Good morning, Gwladys, and good morning to your entire team. And my greetings to the beautiful people of the Cameroons. It's always a pleasure to be on your program.
It is 3 years since you came to Cameroon for that major gathering. I'm talking about the major national dialogue, which held in Yaoundé from September 30th through October 4, 2019. And some resolutions were arrived at. This morning, Municipal Update newspaper is urging the population of the Northwest and Southwest to appreciate the government for the outcomes of the major national dialogue.
I must start by agreeing with Gwladys that inviting somebody for a national dialogue doesn't mean that you're responsible to make a decision. Most of us who were invited were just like passerby. And I must tell you, from the day the national dialogue started, failed, because our invitation, it was clearly, openly stated that we were invited by the head of state, President Paul Biya of La République du Cameroon, to come and dialogue about the situation in Northwest and Southwest food stock. And I made it clear. So if we were there to discuss about the situation in Northwest and Southwest, to the best of my knowledge, what were the other 8 regions doing there? I say so, Mr. Lasha, if you have problem in your house, man and woman, you don't need other people to come inside there. So they would have called just the people of Northwest and Southwest to solve their problem. So from the beginning, it failed. And as I will tell you, it was a fait accompli.
Maitre Alex, I quite remember I worked closely with late Cardinal Tumi, and we were struggling to get the people of the Northwest and Southwest come together before any major national dialogue or major gathering. But apparently nobody supported the effort in seeing that the people of the Northwest and Southwest came together before President Paul Biya could decide on calling the whole nation together to sort out the problem that some of his children are having.
Mr. Lasha, it's an illusion for somebody to think you can bring all the people in Northwest and Southwest together. I always talk, I like to compare things because I study LLM in comparative law. When I want to compare what happened in Cameroon, you have something in Scotland which they call it a Good Friday Agreement. It was about a crisis in Scotland to bring peace, in Northern Ireland, to bring peace back in Northern Ireland. What did they do? They brought the Irish government, political parties in Northern Ireland, the British government, they decided on certain things. Decentralization. They stated the power on health, social care, education, employment and skills, social and security. Then they said this is how Northern Ireland will be decentralized, and that's how it will be governed. There was the first minister. Then what did they do? They did what? A referendum asking the people, do you support the Good Friday Agreement? 71% they supported it before they enacted it. So we went to the national dialogue. They say proposition, recommendation. There was no recommendation. I want to see the recommendation.
Maitre Alex, you were also part of Cardinal Tumi's delegation. I'm talking about bringing Anglophones together. Since you are saying that the Anglophones alone would have been caught up to come to Yaoundé, did you guys even agree to meet amongst them? I mean, your own selves, before you are now blaming President Paul Biya?
My point is, I believe that politicians should be in charge to make political change in the country. I believe that political parties, actors should come together. I was not really a fan of a cardinal heading a political institution. If cardinal wanted to talk about
he was doing so as a neutral person to bring people who are fighting together, you know, because there were a lot of factions among the Anglophones, so he wanted to bring them together so that they can agree on what they want to discuss whenever President Paul Biya will call for a major gathering, wherever he will wish to call for.
First of all, the government of the Cameroons refused that the Anglophones should not meet. So you should take note that they refuse. And so we cannot be saying that the Anglophones refuse. I believe the Constitution of Cameroon permits people to meet, have assembly, discuss issues, ideologies. But it's surprising that the plan, what the government have in the Cameroon, is always to try to separate us, the Anglophone, as Northwest and Southwest. And when you see, when they want to talk about this issue, they talk about elites. They don't talk about that it's the CPTM ruling party that they are going behind and trying to divide the people of Northwest and Southwest. Yes, they can divide us physically, but what unites us in Northwest and Southwest, they can never divide it. Our legal system, our educational system, our judiciary, the fact that we have a justice system that have 12 people, they can never divide that. We have more in common in Northwest and Southwest than what divide us. So they are just wasting their time. We did not join La République du Cameroun as Northwest and Southwest. We joined as a trusteeship system, which was a country which had a prime minister, assembly, house of chiefs. That is the history that the government is trying to suppress. I was happy when Mr. Biya went to Boya. He said Southern Cameroon, Boya was the headquarters of Southern Cameroon. He recognized that. So we have to tell our people the truth. And again, I will tell you that before we went to the national dialogue, I know we're talking about a major national dialogue. There were already 8 committees, 8 created by the government. The decentralization was one of them. Armaments, education law was one of them. So there were 8 of them. So before I left London, they had their fate accomplished. So they have already agreed on what they did.
So why did you Anglophones not fight? Why did you Anglophones not fight? The people were at the hem of the meeting were Anglophones. So why are you crying foul now when you were handed the fight to solve out your problems?
I've made it clear on this your program.
You had the prime minister. You had the prime minister. You had Felix. You had Felix Mbayu. You had also. Yes. You had Ngole Philip Ngwese. All of you were Anglophones. Yes.
Mr. Lasha, can I answer your question? The prime minister, Anglophone doesn't mean you're supporting our autonomy. Anglophone doesn't mean that you're part of Anglophone's autonomy. Who is the prime minister of Cameroon? He's an Anglophone, yes, but he's supporting the Jacobin system of Mr. Biya. He's supporting France controlling our country. So we should be careful when we use the word Anglophone. Anglophone is not a political party. Those Anglophones who were present during the national dialogue, they belong to a political party that does not want to see the institution of former British Cameroon to be restored. The point is, being an Anglophone doesn't mean anything. When they want to use us, they want to sack, is it Professor Masanga Nyamdi? They send who? Professor Ngole and former Prime Minister Mosongo. So they use them. They use Anglophone. They are those type of Anglophones who are there eating crumbs of the cake.
Donc, ça voudrait simplement, Maître Alex, ça voudrait simplement dire que ce problème, c'est les anglophones eux-mêmes qui ne veulent pas le résoudre. Parce qu'ils se laissent manipuler. Ça voudrait simplement dire que ce problème, ce sont les anglophones eux-mêmes qui ne veulent pas le résoudre parce qu'ils se laissent manipuler. À vous écouter.
I don't agree that it's the Anglophone. Listen, let's say, when you join a political party, They have their objective. When you are part of the CPDM believe in our country. So those Anglophones, I don't consider them to have the same opinion, political opinion as
Maitre, that's what I'm asking you. That are you telling me that the Prime Minister, Felix Mbanyu, Ngole Philip Ngwese, Felix Mbanyu, all those Anglophone, personalities, there is none of them who is patriotic?
Listen, Mr. Lasha, this is my answer. Being Anglophone is not a political party. Assuming that the CPDM have a manifesto, they are following the manifesto of CPDM. They are eating in the government. The government is giving them whatsoever. So they are not fighting for the interests of the Cameroon. I put it in quote. They are being bribed. I was there. Mr. Ngwese was in that commission. He was the head of the decentralization commission. I asked Mr. Ngwese that the head of state said we should discuss the situation in Northwest and Southwest. And I asked them, how come that somebody from Garua, Marua, Western Province, Littoral, why were they talking? The topic was Northwest and Southwest.
So somebody, are you saying that somebody from Marua cannot talk about the problem that we have in the Northwest and Southwest in a bid to chip in his own contribution?
Listen, Mr. Lasha. Unfortunately, the reason we created British Cameroon National Party, we have Scottish National Party, Catalan, Quebec. You have a political party in Northwest and Southwest that talks about the Anglophone problem only. These are what we call a minor party. British Cameroon National Party is a minor party. When we want to talk about this, if you're somebody from Garua, Marua, you're interested in the problem in Northwest and Southwest, you're living there, that's okay. But you don't live far north, you don't live Marua, places that you don't know, you have never stepped your legs on Northwest and Southwest, you want to talk about the problem. So it doesn't work that way. They should not talk about it. They should talk about their own problem. I expect local people, if you're somebody from Marua, you're living in Northwest and Southwest, yes, you can talk about it. But if you are not living there, don't talk about it. That's what I'm talking about. Only the people of Northwest and Southwest, including the government of La République du Cameroon, they can come and sit their representatives and we have that debate about the problems in Northwest and Southwest.
Maitre, why is it so difficult? Gwladys, before I come, why is it so difficult for the people of the Northwest and Southwest to come together and say now that President Paul Biya, we are ready to talk? Can you come and meet us now? Let us talk. Why is it so difficult for you guys to come together? Each time somebody comes up with a peace initiative,
Lasha,
the person is either working for La République or working for the separatists.
Mr. Lasha, there is a procedure in the Constitution of Cameroon on how to talk. The problem is, many people believe this is an opportunity. Opportunity is the word, they think they can appoint me. That's how people are looking at it. There is a procedure. We don't need to talk with Mr. Biya. We need to create a political party. We need to start taking the seat, the parliamentary seat. And when we take the parliamentary seat, just like the Sinn Féin party in Northern Ireland, we can say we are not going to Yaoundé. They have given us the mandate. We start by taking the mandate. It's not about talking to them. The most important thing I've learned from the Scottish National Party, I've learned from Quebec, Catalonia, other countries. We don't need to beg. The Constitution of Cameroon says we can create a party. We create what they call minor party. If you see somebody like Mr. Chiruma, his party is a minor party, just in Garua. Belokuba, minor party. So you don't need to be a national party. The only party that's national in the Cameroons at the moment is the ruling PDM. We don't have that resources to go all over the country. Our aim is to fight for the interest of Northwest and Southwest. We don't need to come and have a debate. All of us as Anglophones, we cannot agree. We have different political opinions. So when we want to come as Anglophone, it's difficult. But when we come as a political party, do we have similar opinion and ideology? Yes, it is easier. Even the Francophones, all of them, they cannot agree on everything.
Now you have two problems. Now you have two problems in the Northwest and Southwest. The Ambazonian problems and the problems of the Southern Cameroon. So how do you go about tackling these two problems now? Since you guys were given the opportunity to sort out the problem, you let go of the opportunity in Yaoundé.
It's not really two problems to me. I know who is from Godidinka. I told you he lives in the United Kingdom. He's in London. When he started Ambazonia, the problem was that Mr. Biya, the changing of the name of United Republic of Cameroon means Mr. Biya have seceded. So what Fongoli Dinka stood for and what SCNC, Southern Cameroon National Council, stood for is the same thing. I don't look at this, the newcomers from 2017. They are hijackers, they are criminals, they don't follow what Fongoli Dinka was preaching in 1984. I don't consider them, they are not serious. These are most people who are abroad. They don't have the interest of the Cameroons. They don't hope to come there one day. So they want to do what we call Sagat. They just want to destroy Cameroon because they know they don't intend to come to that country. If you love Cameroon, there is a means. You read the constitution, you follow what the constitution says, you create a political party, you get the mandate from the people, you put your manifesto, the people will vote for you. There is a solution which is peaceful. All these things that people go around and killing people that they are amber. If you want to fight and fight for the independence using violence, you should be heading to Yaoundé to go and overthrow Mr. Biya. You cannot be going around Northwest and Southwest, hurting people, attacking people in the hospital, burning school. That is wrong. Okay. There is a way, peacefully, that we don't need to go around killing our brothers and sisters. You cannot say you're fighting for the people of Northwest and Southwest, then you are attacking them. You're killing our sister, kidnapping for ransom. That's not fighting for the people. I've been fighting for the people of Northwest and Southwest, and I believe peacefully we can achieve it. It is possible. Other people have done it. The Scottish National Party was created in 1934. There they are today, running Scotland. They have a government. They have a first minister. In 2014, they gave them a referendum if they want to stay with the United Kingdom or they want to leave. Most of the people voted to stay. So you have to start. Before you build a house, don't start by putting the roof. Start with the foundation. Okay. And that foundation is what? British Cameroon National Party, to fight for the interest. When we get the mandate, nobody will tell us, when we get most of the MPs, nobody will tell us that, oh, who are we going to talk with? We say, no, the people have given us the mandate to speak for them. We don't need one party. Once as we know other political parties are doing the same thing, have the same objective, we'll stand together, do what they call tactical voting. So if I know somebody can win a seat in Northwest, we'll allow that person to win it, and we get most of the seat and we'll start talking. That is the only solution. If we are begging Mr. Biya to come and talk with us, Mr. Biya.
Maître Alex,
yes.
Vous avez dit tantôt, tout à l'heure, que un Camerounais qui n'a pas vécu dans cette partie, dans le nord-ouest et le sud-ouest, ne devrait pas participer au grand dialogue national pour parler du problème anglophone. La question que je voudrais vous poser ce matin, c'est de savoir, mais depuis le début de ce conflit entre le Cameroun francophone et le Cameroun anglophone, c'est toujours les représentants du Cameroun anglophone qui ont accepté les différentes propositions qui leur ont été faites.
I'm just telling you that being an anglophone is not a political party. When I was in the National Dialogue, there was Chief Ebako. Chief Ebako was fighting in front of me, arguing with Cardinal Toomey that centralization was good. After how many years, I saw a headline. Chief Ebako was saying that there's no power in the special status. But he was the one fighting. I was videoing them live on my Facebook page. I was there. So some of them, because they want to have this power, regional assembly, they're just fighting for themselves. You can tell somebody who is fighting for the interests of Anglophones and somebody who is fighting for himself. So those two people are different. If you are a CPDM,
Maître Alex, Maître Alex, un Camerounais peut ne pas être anglophone, peut ne pas avoir été dans le nord-ouest et le sud-ouest, mais défendre les intérêts de cette partie du pays, parce que vous avez dit que quelqu'un qui est à Garoua ne doit pas se retrouver en train de parler du problème dans le nord-ouest et le sud-ouest.
Even the laws of Cameroon will tell you that if you don't live in certain place, you cannot stand as a member of parliament. So my point is, you can talk about the Anglophone problem like Monko, Betty, other people, they usually talk about it. That's an informal way. But when we are going to an official capacity in a national dialogue, the people who should be talking to for the people of Northwest and Southwest are they themselves. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you cannot fight for it, you don't have the interest. In an informal way, a person from Garoua, in a formal way, in a national dialogue, cannot come and be talking on our behalf.
Okay.
Okay, Maitre Alex. Let's now talk about October 1. October 1, because those were our focus. It still fall in line with the major national dialogue, what we are talking about today. And the Guardian Post newspaper this morning is focusing on the October 1, that whenever the date is approaching, government is always panicking, making sure that she takes very serious security measures in stopping or to thwart the Amazonians from, staging the celebration, as has always been the case.
To me, I don't see why the government is afraid. They are comfortable to celebrate 20th. They are very comfortable to celebrate that. I don't see why they are afraid to celebrate 1st January 1960, the day that La République du Cameroon had its independence. I don't see why we should not celebrate 1st of October. There's nothing wrong with that. But Mr. Lasha, without any intervention, I would love you to give me 1 minute, let me say something on this, your program. Yes. I've heard the word, I saw it on the Guardian. You use that word on this program, reunification. I want to tell you something. Reunification means restoring of a political unit. I'll give you an example of reunification. In 1949, Germany was partitioned. And Germany, in October 3rd, 1990, Germany had what we call reunification. On the 5th of August, 1772, Russia, Prussia, and Austria partitioned Poland. And in 11th of November, 1918, the restoration, the reunification of Poland. So when we talk about reunification of Cameroon, I'm really a little bit concerned. Why? This is my point. In 1520, the Portuguese set up a sugar plantation and started slavery. How is that Cameroon? In 1600, the Dutch took over from the slavery from the Portuguese. So how is that Cameroon? In 1888, Rio dos Cameros, the German took it as a colony, a part in South Africa. How is it Cameroon? In 1919, the London Declaration, France and Britain, they separated that sugar plantation. So we became a country only when the trusteeship of former British Cameroon and East Cameroon, which is La République du Cameroon, that is when we became a country. We cannot be talking about reunification. We have never been together. A slave plantation was never a country. So I should make that clear. And if there are any historian, constitutional lawyer in the Cameroons who want to come and challenge me, I'm prepared to have that debate. We must stop misleading people. This current Cameroon have never been one. A slave plantation was not a country. And we became a country when the people of former British Cameroon, which had a prime minister, a parliament, and have the police and everything, they joined La République of Cameroon, which was a separate country. So we joined together. That's when we became a country. We cannot be using that word reunification.
Okay, Maitre Alex, you have made your point heard. And the paper also this morning told us that government has been deploying the military before the bloodshed that erupted in 2016. The military has always been in those regions of the country to stop the Amazonians from celebrating the day.
Mr. Lasha, we should stop making a mistake that the Amazonians who are celebrating 1st of October. As somebody who was born in former British Cameroon, all of us will have a right to celebrate money. To me, when I look what is happening 1st October, I've always called it from the last 30 years, it's a national day of mourning because Power Camp is gone. Cameroon Bank is gone. The things that they are using, the ENAM, the Ecole Normale, they are imposing on us. All the English institution in Southern Cameroon is gone. So to me, it's a national day of mourning. I'm not an Amazonian. I feel saddened that I cannot go. When I was in Cameroon, I have to study in Wakele, I have to study droit public in French. I feel sorry that when you're being charged of an offense, they have to try you through military tribunal. So it's a national day of mourning to me personally. So any person is free to look at it, whether you want to celebrate independence. I will tell you something which is very important on your program. On 11 February 1961, to 30th of October 1961. Former British Cameroon, autonomy, independent. They had a prime minister, had a parliament, house of chief, good police officer, English and legal system. I'm saying from 11 February 1961, they were more liberal, autonomy. Immediately we joined French Cameroon, we became what? I will use it in quotes, prisoner, because we lost that freedom.
But you choose to join them rather than joining Nigeria. So how is La République to blame?
Mr. Lasha,
yes.
We joined them voluntarily. Mr. Lasha, if you go and sign a marriage certificate, you're married. If there's domestic abuse in your house, you won't say, oh, you're married, you should remain there forever. Scotland joined the United Kingdom 300 years ago. They said they don't want it anymore. They gave them a referendum in 2014. They voted to remain. We voluntarily joined them. So what is wrong to give another referendum? What is wrong? To say, oh, we want to see if you people still love to stay with me. What is wrong? We did not join them to become prisoners. We joined them because we love them. And at the end of the day, we can always say referendum was a free will. There was no clause to say once you join La République, you never leave. There was no clause like that.
Okay. Thank you, Maitre Alex Ndive. We are gradually coming to the end of the program today. And Gwladys, one last question for Maitre Alex before we leave the studio.
Ok, Maître Alex, nous avons les revendications, du moins le ministre des Travaux publics, Emmanuel Nganou-Dioumessi, qui est interpellé parce que les populations bloquent le travail, l'avancement des travaux sur l'autoroute Yaoundé-Douala.
Yes, they are stopping people from going to celebrate 1st of October. And those are people that are blocking the public road. We have problems now everywhere in Cameroon, whether it's lawyers, teachers, or so it's clear from what you're telling me that people can go and block the road without asking permission from the government. So my view is, I'm looking at 1st October, they should allow people to celebrate if they want to celebrate. Celebration, insofar as they are not harming people. There's no
By
violence.
hoisting, are you saying that the flag of Cameroon and the institutions that you respect, you should allow people to rubbish them by hoisting their own flags?
Mr. Lasha, anybody, read the law of Cameroon, you're entitled to have it. So this idea, all political parties in Cameroon, they have a flag or a symbol. What is wrong with that? It shows that the government just, listen, that flag, Mr. Lasha, you're talking about, that flag was a flag, it's not Ambazonian flag. That flag was SCNC, Southern Cameroon National Council. I was in Cameroon when that flag was created. And Mr. Biya, the government of Mr. Biya had no problem when that flag, they used to host that flag in Cameroon. So suddenly they are against the flag now. In the early 90s, that flag was there. Nobody was complaining. Why are they complaining today? Because they want to use the flag to demonize certain people in the Cameroon. That is an Ambazonian flag. It is Southern Cameroon National Council. That is their flag, and it was hijacked by these Ambazonians abroad.
Mais pourquoi est-ce que ces personnes-là, vous ne faites que dire que ça a été pris de l'idée originale, ça a été pris de l'idée originelle, mais pourquoi est-ce que ces personnes-là qui ont instigé ces choses ne revendiquent pas ou bien ne se mettent pas en conflit ou bien pour essayer de remettre ces garçons sur les rails?
Say it again. The people who are...
He's asking that the people...
Are you talking about the transport?
No. You are saying that you are accusing those who are now calling or brandishing the flag as Ambazonian flag. You're saying that they hijacked the idea of the lawyer you are talking about. Gwladys is asking you, why is it that the lawyer and the people who initiated the move have not come out openly to say that we don't like what these people are doing or try to put the boys on the right track?
Mr. Lasha, the problem, the Anglophone problem started before I was born. You see, the First World War, there was tension boiling, and a 19-year-old guy called, Gavarino Principe, went and killed Archduke Ferdinand. What happened? First World War. The Arab Spring, somebody stood in a market in Tunisia and set himself on fire. He removed Gaddafi. Assad is there, all of them. So this teachers, lawyers problem, it was just the immediate cause of the problem. It's not really the lawyers. If you read the history, there are causes and immediate cause. The lawyer and the teacher's problem was just an immediate cause of the Anglophone problem. It has been boiling. You needed something. When they wrote the letter to Mr. Biya in the presidency did not reply for 6 months. And what happened? Something that had been boiling before I was born exploded. So the government always react. The government is not proactive. If the government would have replied the lawyers, teachers, maybe they would have postponed the Anglophone problem. It was something that was already waiting to explode long ago. It did not start in 2016 or 17.
So how has it now been hijacked? See, you are saying that it was a boiling pot. How has it now been hijacked?
It has been hijacked, Mr. Lasha. I've created British Cameroon National Party. If somebody that have not authorized the person to lead the party takes the party, that's hijacked. Gwladys have never authorized these guys who are claiming to be Federal Republic of Ambazonia. You still have Republic of Ambazonia.
Mais pourquoi ce monsieur ne le dit pas donc ouvertement? Pourquoi est-ce qu'il n'essaye pas de ramener ces garçons sur le chemin?
Gwladys is not a young person, he's old. You don't expect him to go about fighting about those things. He has got his children, he has got other people who are responsible.
C'est une idéologie, maître. C'est une idéologie, maître.
He initiated evil and is observing how the evil is being, led by some people.
Mr. Lasha, I've seen evil inside the CPDM, people fighting somewhere, is it a Bolova or whatsoever. In all political parties or whatsoever or pressure group, you have evil. We call it in administrative and constitutional law. When there's a demonstration inside the United Kingdom in London, sometimes you see evil, people fighting, breaking windows or whatsoever. There is evil everywhere. There is evil in Ambazonia. There is evil inside the CPDM party.
Okay, Maitre, thank you for coming. Should be recalled that we're discussing major national dialogue on October 1 today. And of course, you took part in that major gathering 3 years ago. We're trying to evaluate the fallouts of the gathering that was convened by President Paul Biya in a bid to bring peace to the 2 English-speaking regions of the country. Thank you for watching. Televiewers of My Media Prime, the program was produced by Christain, Tebong. We were Gwladys, Bomotonguina, and myself, Lasha. Do have a great weekend. Bye-bye.